Rats. 1,000 rats. 10,000 rats. No, 1,000,000 rats, as large and fat as Parliament cats, besieged the prosperous town of Hamelin for weeks and weeks and months, for no apparent reason or regard for season. For neither sleet nor snow nor searing sun could make them go away, or stop their reign of terror, which they called fun. "But what is fun," squealed one ratty brother, "if one can't have fun at the expense of another?" With red eyes glowing bright as embers, rats filled each endless night and day with squeals and squeaks and evil, unrepentant shrieks from April 1st through 2 Decembers. "Enough of rats," the townsfolk cried. "There's not a trap or trick we haven't tried and failed." For there were rats in the pantries and rats in the cradles, in cupboards and kettles and pots and in ladles, rats in the barns and rats in the bath, devouring everything in their path. Some chewed raw potatoes, a whole bag with ease, or made nests in the flour which made them sneeze. One elderly rat ate some mouldy old socks. "I know it's not bagels with cream cheese or lox, though it reminds me of something." "What is it?" "A poser. But this stuff sure is tasty, right here where the toes were. And it's so high in fiber, and it smells just like onion. I know what it is now. It's cheese and bunion." Another rat, seeking more exotic adventures, calmly swallowed the mayor's dentures, first the lowers and then the upper, which gave him a false impression of supper. And although the mayor's teeth tasted yummy, at night you could hear them dance in his tummy. In the beginning, the cats were ecstatic to find each house filled from cellar to attic with ravishing rats and mouth-watering mice. "My dear, they're delectable, so scrumptious, so nice. Would you mind very much if I have one more slice?" Even vegetarian cats were eager to try it, but quite soon all the pussies were bored with this diet. Thought one clever kitty, "I know what's the matter. These things will taste better if baked in batter." So he invented a recipe, donned a white suit and hat, and started the very first Kentucky fried rat. Still, the townsfolk lived in abject fear, saying, "How could this happen to us here?" Babies cried and mothers screamed for 13 months a year, or so it seemed. "Oh, we realize," said the rats, "that we are ruthless and vicious, but this absolute power is absolutely delicious." The people held meetings each night of the week. Lisped one expert, "I'm honored that you've asked me to speak, though I've racked my brains and schemed all day, and this is what I have to say. I'm scared, and I've got a pain in my tummy." And sucking his thumb cried, "I want my mummy." Even the clergy during Sunday's sermon thundered, "Brethren, away with sin and four-legged vermin." Thus, one Monday morning, amid squeals and peeps, the ratepayers of Hamelin decided to keep the mayor to his word, that he use his power, get his council of cronies to help the town in its desperate hour to rid it of rats and phonies. Said some, "It's immoral, it's insane that the mayor still finds the time to entertain his friends with our money, which, however pleasant, leaves us drowning in rats while they're eating pheasant." So they marched on the town hall, a brief, angry walk, shouting, "Too little action and too much talk." The council had a fairly vague notion of the reason behind all the noise and commotion. Said one, "Dear boys, let truth be our guide." Then nervously they stepped outside. The mayor said, "This will be brief." It had to be. He had no teeth. Then he turned to the crowd, saying, "Here's what we'll do. First we'll gobbledy-gay with some gobbledy-goo, and then we'll blah blah blabber blah give a dog a bone, so knick-knack paddywhack do run along home." At first the townsfolk were very impressed. "But darling, he's a genius, and so fashionably dressed. And so cute with his dimples, best speaker I've heard." Now this may seem silly, even absurd, but in truth the townsfolk had not understood a word of the mayor's speech, and later, thinking about it in bed, they realized that nothing new had been said, and for many months they played this game, until the day the piper came. From beyond the hills, from far away, the townsfolk heard the piper play his merry tune, and as he came progressively nearer, his flute sounded ever louder and clearer. Hamelin town grew strangely mute as everyone stopped to hear the flute. Said one small voice, "How can it be? There's magic in that melody." But one rat nearby cried, "Stay awake! I believe it is a grave mistake to follow that flute. There's something wrong with the piper's strange, hypnotic song." and when the piper reached the town, even the mayor in his ermine gown went outside to look. The story goes that even he had tingling toes, and hopped and grunted like a pig, and almost lost his chain and wig. Yet, however hard the poor man tried, he could not dance and look dignified. When the piper stopped his playing, the whole of Hamelin kept on swaying, and for 2 whole minutes the mayor's belly wobbled like a mound of jelly. Coughed the mayor, blushing red, then turned to the piper and, toothless, said, "Say, you there, ragamuffin hobo, what else can you do with that funny little oboe?" How typical, thought the piper. Cute. This man doesn't know his oboe from his flute. But he turned to the crowd and said with a grin, "Rats, my dears, rats. I get rid of 'em. In fact, if you wish, here's what I'll do. I'll rid you of your rats. You seem to have a few." The council promised him a chest filled with gold. "Just one?" said the mayor. "He's worth 100-fold. "And a free house, too," cried a wealthy builder. "No thanks," said the piper. "I want just 1 guilder. "Well, here's your money then," offered one. "No thanks. Pay me when the job is done." Then, rejoicing, people of every profession joined the piper's lively procession. Back at base, Chief Rat B-flat McDougal was practicing on an old battered bugle. One wise rat tactfully suggested he dump it, but McDougal was determined to blow his own trumpet. And although his notes numbered only 2, it was, after all, the best he could do. "Say, listen to this tune I heard today." And with that, McDougal began to play. Naturally, his friends weren't too impressed with his 2-note tune. "Well, just imagine the rest." But they couldn't, and they said, "If you're worth your oats, you would try singing us the missing notes." Thus, B-flat McDougal, back at bass, brought the bugle to his face. La la, la la, la. In spite of the somewhat unmusical sound, strange things began happening underground. The rats grew restless, their heads started spinning, and their eyes became glazed. It was just the beginning, for soon there stirred in every limb a crazy desire to go for a swim. Yet the moment McDougal stopped his concert informal, everything around him returned to normal. Though himself slightly dazed, he basked for an hour in the glorious light of his newfound power. Though the worst kind of power, let it be said, for this type of power goes straight to the head. And so, when McDougal heard the piper's fateful toot, he, like all misguided leaders, cried, "Follow that flute!" From every house and hole and drain the evil furry rodents came and formed a column 5 miles long behind the piper and his song. B-flat McDougal, chief rat, Clot, thought to himself, "What power I've got." McDougal gloated, "I have a plan. I know a way to beat this man. First, we'll follow the piper, and though a few rats may die, I'll be safe. For I'm clever, and I know how to lie and flatter the flutist, let him think he's the boss, and then, at the right time, I'll kill him, no loss." Finally, they reached the gurgling river. "This is it," drooled McDougal, and with an excited shiver whispered, "Here, Mr. Piper, give me your flute in exchange for real power and money and loot. Let's rule together. Now how about that?" But to the piper, McDougal was just another dumb rat, and the piper ignored him and rowed a boat out from shore. Soon the throng of evil rats would be no more. McDougal cringed at a sudden thought. This is horrible. He has integrity and can't be bought. Well, if you can't beat him, then join him, I say. And besides, it's high time that I learn to play his stupid little march. Hey guys, raise your voices. It seems sing or swim are our only 2 choices. Then he cried, "Give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar," and 1,000,000 rats leapt into the river Weser. For one brief moment, the world heard McDougal as he played the last post on his waterlogged bugle. All drowned, a mass of helpless things, for they had forgotten their water wings. The next day, the piper demanded his money. The council thought it rather funny, saying, "Rats? What rats? There are no rats here." "Then I'll take your children. I hope that's clear." The mayor, the council, the adults just laughed. "What? Take our children? That ragamuffin's daft." But the children were astonished. "They're so selfish. Don't they care?" And then, as children often do, they knelt in prayer.
Give us
Then the piper joined the children, saying, "I know that you enjoy my playing, but shall I play you something new?" "Yes, please," cried the children. "Oh, yes, please do." "All right," said the piper. "But what shall it be?" "Oh, I know. I'll play our happy march in a different minor key." The children listened to the piper enraptured, not knowing that more than their hearts had been captured. And when he'd played an hour or so, he said, "Come, little ones, it's time to go." And then he led them away with his magic notes down cobbled streets and over moats, up mountain paths, through waterfalls, far beyond old Hamelin's walls. The piper wove a spell of sharing and took them to a place called Caring, a place where very few have been, and in fact the children were never seen again in Hamelin, where adults in utter disbelief had their laughter turned to instant grief. And as the children marched along, one still heard their fading song. Now every year on April 3rd, a distant melody can be heard in Hamelin, reminding others not to make, in future years, the same mistake. For just April fools and doubting Thomases still dare to break their promises.